Use zigzag when sewing. A zigzag stitch is usually done to seal a seam to prevent the material from fraying. Doing this kind of stitch is fairly easy, as long as you know how to use a sewing machine. A zigzag stitch is not only for securing seams, it can also be used to make decorative stitches in any kind of fabric. A sewing machine setting can be adjusted to make a zigzag stitch and other types of stitches as well. In making a piece of clothing or any kind of material, it is very important to secure the stitches with zigzag ones so the fabric will not fray and remove the stitches in the process. If you want to make stitching fabrics into a hobby, you must know the different types of stitches. This article will show you how to use zigzag stitches when sewing fabrics. Read on. Familiarize yourself with your sewing machine. Every machine is equipped with an owner's manual so beginners can familiarize themselves with the machine's use. In making a zigzag stitch, the machine setting must be changed to make such stitch, so take note on how to set the sewing machine for the zigzag stitch. Sew the fabric. Use a regular stitch to sew the fabrics together. Leave at least 1/4 inch allowance for the zigzag stitch. Complete the pattern of the fabric that you are making. Set the sewing machine to zigzag stitch. Once you are done with sewing the fabrics together, set the width of the zigzag stitch. Usually, zigzag stitches for sealing the seams only require a narrow width. Test the stitch on a piece of fabric. To make sure that you do it the right way, use a piece of fabric first to see if you can do the stitch properly. Do it several times on the fabric to perfect the technique. Sew the fabric. When you have practiced the stitch, you can proceed with the fabric that you have stitched together. Press the seam allowances together and position the edge of the fabric under the needle. Make sure to press down the fabric together as you advance. Work your way along the entire fabric. If you cannot do one continuous zigzag stitch, you can pause and cut the thread and start a new link. You only have to make sure that the end of each stitch is secured before starting where you left off. In using a sewing machine, manual or electric, precautions should be taken to avoid any accidents. When holding down and pushing the fabric onto the needle, make sure that your fingers do not get in the way, or you risk the chances of hurting your finger when it touches the needle. If you are a newbie in using a sewing machine, read the owner's manual first to familiarize yourself with the machine. You can also get the help of someone close to you to teach you the basics in stitching. Visual tutorial is better than just reading it from a manual.